So I wanted to go ahead and just put a quick video out tonight regarding the toxicology or the forensic pathologist that was on Court TV last night. And these are just some snippets. So if you want to see the whole thing, by all means, please go onto Court TV and type in toxicology and you'll see where it comes up. But I want you to listen to a couple of things and then I'm going to explain something.
He was talking about the morphine, this 19 nanograms per milliliter. What does that tell you about what happened to this baby?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a complex picture. You know, we have to take sort of forest and trees, and we're looking, the toxicology is part of the puzzle. Now, I think you're correct that the morphine was given in the setting of her back pain. That was her chief complaint. Now, that's still a therapeutic level. You know, what goes into the mom goes into the baby, right? So that's how we know that the baby even got it.
So is that, you say, a therapeutic level? Could that cause problems for the child? Because, again, the defense may very well argue that the morphine caused the child to die after taking one or two breaths, whatever their expert is going to say.
Right. I think these are very complex cases, and I haven't even reviewed like the autopsy itself. With that caveat, though, could it have impacted a newborn's breathing? Potentially. Now, could it have impeded breathing? Potentially, but you know, you can't ignore that the baby was very, very like carefully disposed of, right? She didn't, I think her reaction and the disposal of the baby is the most horrifying part of this. I do want to put out there, though, that the baby got CPR, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's a very critical element to clarify because that can artificially inflate the lungs or get air in the stomach. So you don't want to overcall that, you know, and we know she's already at the hospital. They're going to try to resuscitate a baby, you know, not just assume it's dead.
So there were a couple things in here that I wanted to note. Yes, we cannot ignore the fact that a baby was put into a garbage can. Absolutely, we are not ignoring that fact at all. The morphine, while at a therapeutic level, it could potentially cause some breathing issues in the baby. And that potential is all her defense needs in order to be able to sway just one juror to think that there may have been another reason for what happened to the baby. Now, we do know based on the autopsy report that there actually was not CPR done, so she was incorrect about that part. But did you hear what she said? And if not, please go back and rewind it. She said that any type of CPR will have put air in the baby's lungs and the baby's stomach. So you remember before when I had posted a video where the attorney said that we would be proud of what his client did to try to save the baby. That right there tells me that they are probably going to come up and say that Alexee attempted to breathe into the baby's mouth and therefore got air in the lungs and air in the stomach. Based on what the forensic pathologist said, this is a possibility. And her last comment is classic. They are in a hospital. Surely they're going to attempt to resuscitate a baby and not just assume it's dead. Now, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what any of us think, because at the end of the day, if her defense brings this out into court, again, one juror, that's all they need. The burden of proof lies on the prosecution. Prosecution has to go ahead and convince 12. Defense only has to convince 1. And I have repeated this, I don't know how many times, but just in case you're not clear, listen to a judge say it.
There is, just as you indicated, going to be a battle of the experts in this case. You're going to have the defense that essentially has the responsibility of convincing a single juror that they should at least not buy whatever the prosecutor's story is. Because remember, the prosecution has the burden of proof. They must prove beyond a reasonable doubt every essential element of the crimes charged. And I believe there are 2, the murder and the tampering. And all the defense has to do, if anything, is to find one holdout. And they will no doubt rely on that argument, positioning or transitioning the responsibility to the hospital in an effort to achieve that, while the prosecution must convince every single juror.
You're welcome. I have been saying this the entire time. This is exactly why my page from this perspective exists, so people can see the other side. Because again, all of this, as you can tell, is all going to come up in trial.